Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's tutorial, we're going to be making this cute ornament pouch. It's really easy and fast to make, and as always, I'm going to walk you through it step by step. First, we're going to be needing some acrylic yarn in pink and in gold. If you don't find the gold metallic yarn, that's fine. You could just use any color that's similar, or silver, whatever you prefer. Then for the snowflake, you can either make it in white or metallic gold. You need cotton thread size 3 for this. And then lastly, you'll also be needing any type of gold lace that you can find. Doesn't have to be like mine, it can be anything similar. And then you'll also be needing a G hook, a C hook, a darning needle, and a pair of scissors. Now let's get started. We're going to start with a magic ring, and then we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to make 6 single crochet. Now we're going to close out the ring, and now we're going to start with round 2. Now for round 2, we're going to do an increase into each single crochet. So that's going to be a total of 6 single crochet increases. Should be 12 stitches in total. Now there's our first increase, and what we're going to do is on the very first stitch, we're going to put our stitch marker. Now we're going to continue with the other 5 increases that we have to do. Now we're going to do our last increase, and that is the end of round 2. Now we're going to remove our stitch marker to proceed to round 3. Now for round 3, we're going to do a single crochet and then an increase. So that's going to be the repetition for this round. We're going to do the increase now. Now on the very first stitch, we're going to add our stitch marker. So for this round, we're going to be doing a single crochet and then an increase. We're going to do 5 more repetitions, and I'll meet you at the last one. Okay, now we're at our last repetition. We're going to do our single crochet, and then we're going to do the last increase. Now this is the end of round 3. We're going to remove our stitch marker, and now we're going to start with round 4. Now for round 4, we're going to start with an increase, and then we're going to do 2 single crochet. And we're going to do that 6 times. So first, let's do our increase. Now we're going to mark the first single crochet with the stitch marker. And now we're going to do the 2 single crochet. Now we're going to repeat that repetition 5 more times, and I'll meet you at the last one. We reached the last repetition, so we're going to do our increase. Now we're going to do 2 single crochet, and that is the end of round 4. Now we're going to remove our stitch marker, and we're going to proceed to round 5. So here we're going to do 3 single crochet, and then we're going to do our increase. We're going to repeat that 6 times. So there's our first single crochet. We're going to mark it with a stitch marker. Now we're going to do 2 more single crochets, and now we're going to do our increase. Now we're going to repeat this repetition 5 more times, and then I'll meet you at the last one. We've reached our last repetition, so we're going to do 3 single crochet, and then we're going to end with an increase. And that is the end of round 5, and now we're going to move on to round 6. We're going to remove our stitch marker. And now we're going to do an increase first, and then we're going to do 4 single crochet. So first is our increase, and we're going to mark the first single crochet with our stitch marker. And now we're going to do 4 single crochet. Now we're going to repeat this repetition 5 more times, and I'll meet you at the end of the last repetition. We're at the last repetition, so we're going to do our increase, and then we're going to do 4 single crochet. And that is the end of round 6. Now we're going to remove our stitch marker to proceed to round 7. Now for round 7, we're going to do 5 single crochet, and then we're going to do our increase. So that's the first stitch. We're going to mark it. Now we're going to do 4 single crochet. And now we're going to do our increase. So that's 5 single crochet and then an increase. Now we're going to repeat that 5 more times, but I'll meet you at the last repetition. Now we're at the last repetition, and we're going to do our 5 single crochet. And now we're going to do our increase. And that is the end of round 7. Now we're going to remove our stitch marker, and we're going to move on to round 8. Now for round 8, we are going to start off with our increase. And then we're going to do 6 single crochet. Now we're going to put our stitch marker into the first stitch, and we're going to do our 6 single crochet. And now we're going to repeat that repetition 5 more times, and I'll meet you at the end of the last repetition. Now we reach the last repetition. We're going to do our increase. And now we're going to do these 6 single crochet. And that is the end of round 8. Now we're going to move on to round 9. Now for round 9, we're going to do 3 single crochet. And then we're going to do our increase and then 4 single crochet. So now we've marked our first stitch. Now we're going to do 2 single crochet. Now we're going to do the increase. And then we're going to do 4 single crochet. Now you're going to repeat that pattern 5 more times, and I'll meet you at the last repetition. Okay, so we're at the last repetition where we're doing our 3 single crochet. Now we're going to do the increase. Now we're doing 4 single crochet. And that is the end of round 9. And you can already see that now it's starting to get a little more rounded because of that last round that we just did. Now for round 10, we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch, and we're going to chain 1 for round 10. And now we're going to work 54 half double crochet. In the first one, we're going to do into that very same stitch that we slip stitched into. So continue to do that, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. Now we reached the end of the round. So now we're just going to slip stitch into the first stitch, and then we're going to fasten off. So for rows 11 to 13, we're going to be working on the top part of the ornament. You can use either gold acrylic yarn, or you can use silver, or you can also use metallic gold yarn if you find any. I wanted to use metallic, but I couldn't find any acrylic, so I opt to use cotton thread instead, which is this gold metallic cotton thread that I found. But what I did was I double strand in order to make, to compensate for the size, and it works out just fine. So it's really up to you. So I'm going to double strand, and we're going to attach our yarn. And it doesn't matter where you really attach it, it's just got to get attached into one stitch. You're going to attach the yarn by making a slip stitch into the stitch. And now, round 11, we're going to chain 1, and you're going to do 6 single crochet, but the first single crochet, make sure it's in the same stitch that you slip stitched into. Right, so that's our second, third, fourth, fifth, and 6th single crochet. Now we're going to turn our work. You're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then you're going to do 6 single crochet. Now you're going to turn the work, and you're going to chain 1, and we're going to do 3 single crochet. And now we're going to do 6 chain. And now in the very next stitch we're going to do a single crochet, and then we're going to do another single crochet. Now in the last stitch we're going to do an increase. Now going down into row 1, you're going to do a single crochet. Then in the same stitch as the last single crochet on row 11, we're going to also do a single crochet, but we're not going to finish off the stitch. We're going to switch out to the pink color again. So we're going to finish off the single crochet. Now we've changed the color, and we're going to make 50 single crochets, but we're going to make the very first one into the same stitch as we just did the last one in gold. And now we're going to continue working single crochets all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end before we switch out to the other color on the other side. Okay, so now we're going to make our last single crochet into the first stitch of round 11. Now what I did, in order to not cut the yarn and have to add gold again, I cut a pretty long tail, and I weaved it through the back to bring it out to the other side so it would be easy to switch out the color. So now we're going to do our single crochet into that very first stitch that we did our first single crochet for round 11. Now we're going to switch out the color again, and we're going to make our first single crochet in gold into that same stitch that we just did the last single crochet in pink. Now you can go ahead and cut the pink yarn, leaving a tail to weave in later. And now we're going to make the second single crochet into the first row. And then we're going to make our last single crochet into the same stitch as the first of round 13 on top to kind of create that increase in the corner. And then we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch. Now you just fasten off. And now that you're done, you can weave in the ends. I've already weaved in the ends of my first panel, so this is how it looks. Now we're going to be repeating the same exact pattern for our second panel, but on the second panel we're going to chain 50 instead of 6 on the gold part on top. And then also when we switch out the color at the end of the round, the pink, we're going to leave a long tail, and you're just going to weave it in through the first 4 stitches because we'll start joining the panels on the 5th stitch. Now if you want to do any type of embroidery on the front panel, now would be the time to do it, since it's just easier to do before you sew the panels together. Now I'm going to show you how to join the panels. We're going to join the panels from the back sides together, and then we're going to go in on the 5th stitch. Now, after you've gone into the second stitch, I like to go back into the first to kind of just secure it so that it's well stitched together. And now you're going to continue doing that all the way around. All the way up until the 5th stitch on the opposite side. Now continue to do that and I'll meet you when you're done. So I finished sewing my panels together, and as you can see, I've already added my gold lace on top. You can sew or glue it on, and the snowflake. You can find the pattern in the caption, in the description, I'm sorry. And you could also make it in white if you prefer, with white, with gold, or however you like. You can have fun with this pattern. And if you don't want to add a snowflake, you can embroider a star, or you could add anything else that you like to it. You can really be creative with this. And that's it for today's tutorial. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more in the future. And if you make this pattern and post it, tag me on social media at Zeno Threads. I'd really like to see and share it. And thank you all for watching. Bye.